Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the Conversations of Faith podcast. We're so excited to have you with us. If you've watched the podcast before, you might be saying, what is going on? If you're listening,
right now?
it probably seems pretty normal at this point, but if you're watching, we got some pretty crazy stuff going on here. And it's because we are smack dab in the middle of VBS week. And so today we have two of our amazing kids pastors here today. We got Pastor Sean, Pastor Faith, and we're going to be talking about kind of the heart behind VBS, even just the theme, kind of like why we do this. But before we jump into any of that, you know, all the fun stuff, all the cool stuff, we're going to introduce what we like to call the listener of the week. Listener of the week.
I'm gonna add that in every time. You can dub that in with me, man.
Left such a big pause before.
I won't do it, man. What's up, guys? Yeah, it is. It's time, man. Listener of the week. I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but Joel Wireman is listener of the week, awesome, man. So congrats, Joel. Thank you, my bro, for being listener of the week, for just checking his podcast out, helping us spread the word. So tell them quickly how they can become listener of the week, man.
Yeah, if you want to become listener of the week, there's a couple ways you can do that.
And you want to become listener of the week.
Obviously you do. I mean, I say that.
I'm still waiting on a bumper sticker.
You don't get to be listener of the week. You don't get a bumper
There
sticker.
could be listener of the week coffee mugs.
You don't. Well, you missed it.
But that could be coming.
We're going to take down
I'm
the
here for a
episode
coffee
that you
mug,
were
too.
listener of the week. I'm saying it. But no, if you want to become listener of the week, there's a couple ways you can do that. You'll notice a lot of the people that are a listener of the week are people that we go to church with. That's just because we're in community with them. We're talking with them. They're coming up to us, encouraging us about the podcast, and letting us know how it's encouraging them in their walk. So if you do go to Faith Renewed, tell us what's up. But if you don't, there's still another couple ways you can do that. You can comment on our YouTube page, which honestly would be my preferred way. If I could tell you one thing today, comment on these videos, because you know, just watching it is great. You know, YouTube sees that, they want to show it to more people. But when you're liking and commenting these things, it puts it in front of more faces. And that's what we want. We want the gospel to be spread around to more people that need the good news. So if you can, comment, like, subscribe, all those great things. Or you can email us at conversations@faithrenewed.org. That's just if you want to share your testimony, or if you want to share a story, or even just an idea for a podcast, which we've got a couple of those that we're going to be digging into soon. But yeah, there's all the ways you can become listener of the week.
Oh man, no, for real. I want to go ahead. We always open with a verse here at Conversations, and so I'm going to read this from the wall. It's like the writing on the wall. So not even from my Bible or from the iPad, none of those things. This is the writing on the wall. So this is VBS week. This is up on our wall here. This is our kind of, I guess it's the theme verse, I guess is what this is. So it's coming from John chapter 13, verse 34. And it says, I give you a new command, love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you. And so, man, what a cool theme. Love's huge, massive. And so we're talking about VBS. This is a kind of, again, it's maybe a little shorter podcast. If you're watching it, definitely. We have the camp chairs out. If you look behind us, this is the theme, Live It Out. And so we're living it out, man. This is casual. This is hanging out. We have our new church uniforms on. This is, we're wearing these now each Sunday. No, so we're wearing VBS shirts. It's a good time, man. But I love that. This is a cool idea, I think. Was this your idea, bro? Adam, was this you?
To do VBS?
A VBS, not VBS, but to do the podcast. Yeah.
VBS.
Yeah, you were behind our church.
You were very
But I think
creative.
you said, or was that one of my brilliant ideas? I don't know. It was somebody's idea, but we were like, hey, while this is up, let's talk about it. And so while we're here, so VBS, massive. It's huge. I have great memories from VBS as a kid. Crystal Burgers we brought in one night. I still remember that. Yeah, no, I still remember that. We had Crystal Burgers one night. But no, it's more than that. I remember just every night as a kid.
I remember pizza.
You do remember pizza. Yeah, that's good. But there's a lot of incredible things come from it. First of all, just lives being changed. That's the main thing. We had this place packed out in here yesterday. Kids everywhere. Volunteers, man, just incredible. Again, just what it takes to put it on, and so we're sitting here with the masterminds behind VBS.
That's dangerous.
Who helped make this thing happen. But before we start asking them or letting them talk, I want to say thank you guys, man, for real, so much. Thank you for all that you have sown into this. For those who are watching and listening, if you're a part of our VBS Dream Team, thank you so much. Over 80 volunteers to help make this thing happen. That's incredible.
Right at 100, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we added more.
So, come on, man. All
We
right, I got to
showing
post
up last
this, 'cause
night
this is
for it.
huge, man. This is just, as a pastor of his heart, to see this many people take time out of their week, and on summer, to take time out of their week to come in here, pour into kids. To
Lots
make
of people
Jesus known.
taking work off, too.
Yeah, even taking time off work, man. So incredible. But thank you guys for helping. Just again, make it happen, leading the way. Man, it has been. It's already we're in day 2. For those who time-wise, the recording of this is day 2. Last night was day 1, and it was awesome. I'd say just right out of the gate, it was on. It wasn't like we had to work out the kinks. You guys, it just came together. It was beautiful to see it and happen. But talk to us, and just tell those listening today, just your heart behind VBS, why it's a passion of yours, why you're doing this, what do you want to see come from it? But just jump in and talk to us again.
Sure. Yeah. So VBS, that it's always been something that's been special to me growing up. That was really where getting involved in VBS as a kid really was where I fell in love with kids ministry. I helped my grandma a lot of times, so she would be she was the director of VBS growing up. Looked a lot different than it does today, though. It was a very old school Pledge of Allegiance every day before service.
That's
you know.
sick.
Deviled egg sandwiches every night, cookies, and Cooley. You remember Cooley? Yes.
Dude, I'm down for this, man. No, bring it back.
So,
This is Pastor Terry's dream VBS that you're speaking of right here.
Dude, deviled egg sandwiches, this is protein, man.
Yep,
I'm all
yep.
about that life.
yeah, so it looked obviously a lot different, but for me, that was a big thing for me growing up. And I always loved being a part of that, getting to help my grandma plan it out each week. Eventually being a part of Heather's aunt's ministry with kids ministry and helping her with her VBS. So that was really very integral for me in my walk with the Lord, and I want to be able to see that with kids today. I'm seeing it even now with my oldest. She loves to be involved with VBS and help with all the planning. She was telling me she went around Sunday while we were setting up, I went every classroom and helped them out wherever they needed help at. Even my youngest now, but be able to instill those foundations in them at this young age to get excited about Jesus, and who knows? I mean, you never know what God's going to do. Mark this generation and mark these kids during this time to be able to go on and do even better things for the kingdom.
Angel told me last night she was standing there, and I think was it Parker who came up to you? She's like, "I can't wait for tomorrow night," and just to see the excitement in their eyes, and I saw that in so many kids yesterday. In fact, you actually have a pretty cool experience from VBS from when you were young. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I actually got saved at the 1990s version of VBS. So it was, what did we call it? What did we say? A kids crusade?
Yeah, we thought VBS was out back then, and
Yeah.
so we certainly called them Kids Crusade. So, but yeah, it was.
But it
basically,
was pretty much
it was
the
a
same thing.
VBS. Yeah, it was a cooler name, but or maybe not. But just we called it Kids Crusade during that season of
Yeah.
time, and so yeah. But we were student pastors, I believe, at the church, and during that time you were young, and
3, I think. Yeah, very young. Which is crazy to think about with my middle being just turned 4, and I don't know. It's just wild. I've been to a lot of VBSs in my life, between being a kid and being at VBS, and then here when we started Faith Renewed and helping with VBSs. Then we took a little break for a while, and we brought it back 3 years ago. So this is our 3rd year doing VBSs in the 2020s.
Yeah.
But it's just been, incredible to see the kids that have come in and the lives that have changed through it. And I was looking around last night, and I've helped in kids ministry since I was a kid. I talked about that a little bit on the Moms podcast. And I've been able to help out with a lot of VBSs, but now I'm in student ministry as well. And I looked around and I saw a lot of teenagers helping out that were in the VBSs when they were in kids here at Faith Renewed. Some of them that missed it from our break that we had, but it was just cool to see the number of teenagers that were seeing the importance in the next generation coming up right behind them and taking their nights off too, because that's not as cool to do when you're a teenager.
It's
Yeah.
huge. But I think this is what's important to remember. I think sometimes people ask, well, did they really get saved? Or did anything really happen? Or did it really matter? I don't recall ever coming back to you in the last 27 years or whatever and asking you, did it take? Are you sure you got saved? Do we need to do it again or whatever? And of course you've just grown, you matured, and as you've been discipled and taught. But so it happens, man. There's life transformation happening in nights just like this.
And I wouldn't say that I understood the magnitude of it completely then at 3, because how can you when you're 3 years old? But yeah, like to be able to say yes to him then and really not remember a day without him is pretty cool to say. It's pretty awesome. But I think sometimes people outside of the church look at it and think, well, why would a church spend so much money prepping on this, getting a gift card for volunteers, buying how many T-shirts? A whole bunch of them, 250 T-shirts. Spending a bunch of money on it just to raise a couple $1,000s for missions. People can say, well, why wouldn't you just give the money to missions and send it to whoever you're wanting to give it to? Because it matters and it's worth it. And we've already had over 100 kids in these doors hear Jesus' name because of that time and that effort and that money.
And this is mission.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Sunday
missions. From the stage. Went ahead and I did a thank you in advance to everybody who's going to help make this happen. And I said, this is a mission trip. We're getting ready to go on a mission trip at home for the next week. And this is missions.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the world and in my own life that I know personally that won't bring their kids to church, but they'll bring them to VBS. They'll bring, and it might be a 2-hour babysitting service. Who cares? Yeah. I don't care what it is, but these kids are in the doors and they're hungry and they're wanting to hear about Jesus and they're getting it here. And it's just really cool to see.
What I've really loved too is we're not just seeing the kids in our in faith kids that are coming to this, that we're seeing, like she said, kids in the community, other kids, and that's a big part of what we try to do as well, is just try to push out to the community to reach more kids that may not come to church on a Sunday. I love what Emily's even doing, going out and picking some kids up and bringing them in, that we've seen more kids coming on Sunday, but also coming in for VBS. And a lot of them, when we first talked about it, I was like, I don't know, what is VBS? I don't even know what that is. But it's been so cool seeing them and just falling in love with that and being able to hear these words and hear the gospel presented to them and doing all the fun stuff too. But the heart of it is getting to the gospel and sharing the love of Jesus with these kids.
Tell us about this particular one we're doing, as far as theme, and, I know you may have just some other night, main things, but just hit a little bit, talk about this one this year, what you guys want to see that they leave with. We want to make sure they get this out of this VBS. What's some of the main things this year?
So for this theme, it's live it out. You can see on the screen stage behind me. So it's living out the principles that Jesus taught us. So throughout this week, every lesson, whereas some lessons in the past may have dealt with different parts of the Bible, this one's really been geared around the principles that Jesus taught us while he was here on earth. And that's, for me, is the important thing that they get, is that these aren't just stories we hear. They're not just stories that they're told or shared about and then do nothing with them. They're intended to go and live them out, live the gospel out. We talked about last night, talking about the washing feet and taking that and being able to go in and serve others and be able to love one another. I just think there's so many important principles that this VBS is teaching. I've always loved all of them, but this one I just feel something feels special about this one, about them, the theme specifically that they're learning each night.
Yeah, it was cool. Last night on the way home, Ellie said to Chris, "Daddy, I wish we could live it out every single day." And he said, "Well, we've got VBS for the rest of the week, Ellie." And she was like, "No, like every day I wish we could live it out for the rest of our lives." And Chris was like, "Well, baby, you can. You can tell people about Jesus and love them and show them the love of Jesus, and that's living it out. Yeah. You just have to choose to." And she was like, "Really?" Like, she thought it was so cool that she could take this past this week.
And we're in a series on Sundays here at the church, Written in Red, Teachings of Jesus. Yeah. And so I was like, how cool the timing. But you're talking about, are they getting it? Yeah, they're getting it. You guys talked about the foot washing yesterday, taught them the principle behind that. After service, Ellie, your 6-year-old, and our granddaughter, she goes up to Angel, my wife, and has the little
craft that they made.
craft concoction of whatever this was, but it was cool.
It's like a foot scrub
a
to
foot
use.
scrub, and it in a little jar, and she comes up to me and she says, "I want to wash your feet." And so we were not okay with just
I was
that,
a hot mess when she showed those pictures.
no. So and it was it's sincere, and just so they're getting it. They're this is making sense to them. What is some of the other themes during this week that we're going to be hitting with them?
So we got loving one another. We've got being kind to another. That's tonight's, just for what we're recording now. But being kind to others, and it's for me that was such an important one too, because it's talking about the disciples when they try to send the children away, when they try to bring them to the parents brought them to Jesus, and being kind to one another, and how Jesus didn't send the kids away. And I just really feel like led to hit home with that tonight is just that even though they may have felt rejected or may have felt like someone didn't want them to be around, is just being able to know that Jesus still wants them, even if their parents or other adults may not have wanted them around, just to know that Jesus wants to be with them. Jesus wants to have that relationship with them. I'm super excited about that tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. So there's other ones about. I was trying to think what's the other ones.
Look on the wall. Is it?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was looking around,
yeah.
trying to remember. Praying for one another. Yes, that's another one. So learning to pray.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about the Lord's Prayer, kind of taking that piece of it
That's
and
cool.
break that down. Forgiveness. That's the one I was missing. I was looking around. I was like, "Where's my forgiveness poster?" That one's obvious. That's tomorrow night.
Huge. Wow.
Yeah,
Huge.
that one we're really digging into the Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, and that's traditionally during the way these VBS curriculums have set. Wednesday night's usually been a good night to kind of drill that home. And this year, I love the way they laid it out with it, and it's going to be really cool about forgiving one another, and how Jesus forgives our sins. He forgave others, and then the last night is serving one another, and how the disciples, how they went out and they served others too. They learned the principles from Jesus, and then taking that out and kind of going on beyond VBS and being able to serve one another's and talk about what we're doing here at the church about serving and getting kids excited about wanting to do that. And it's one of our principles in Faith Kids about serving others. We drill home.
One of our core values as a church.
Yeah. So we've been trying to drill some of those things home each week with the kids, and I'm excited to be able to kind of wrap that last night up talking about it as well.
But these are principles not just kids need; these are parents. So I hope there's some great conversations. Yeah. I hope some moments take place where these kids take that and have conversations with mom. What else? Any other thoughts as far as tonight? What is what's been the, I guess maybe a prayer that you guys want to see happen as far as a result of this? Anything specific that you guys have been praying for, believing for from this one?
I mean, I could say quite a few, but I would love to say that a prayer is like, oh, I wish that our kids ministry would explode because we need it. Our kids ministry is already exploding,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not capped at that. Like, our building might be full, but there's still kids that need to know about Jesus, and there's still families that don't know about him that these kids can take back to their homes. So, it is that for our kids ministry just to continue to explode, but also for our dream team, because you said 80 something, we're up to almost 100. We don't have 100 people serving in Faith Kids on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it's, for those adults and teenagers to see the heart of this ministry and the joy that it is and how worth it is to put into these kids, and that it matters, and just to see that, what was it, night 5 that we're talking about serving,
Mm-hmm.
that they can serve too, that they can serve in kids ministry, whether it's holding a baby in nursery or teaching in Faith Kids Max, that it's important and it's worth it. But just there's some kids that I've seen at VBS all 3 years, but I don't see them on Sundays. They know that we have a good VBS and that they trust us with their kids. And so another prayer is just that for those kids that I've seen to keep coming, to get their families in church. A lot of them are not in church themselves, so just to see them coming in on Sundays and Wednesdays and getting that Jesus.
Yeah. Speaking on the serving, it just reminded me just when you said something just now. how the impact is not only had on the kids but also on the adults. Eric and Michelle, I think they were on here a couple weeks ago. I know a few years ago they told me like they weren't interested. They helped the kids ministry before, didn't want to do it again, and then they served in VBS last year together. And it was after that they jumped straight into serving in Faith Kids. Now they're one of our leaders. Christina is another one. I've seen how she's another one that when she first came, I remember her saying specifically, I can't serve in Faith Kids, but I'll help wherever else you need me. And after VBS last year, she just jumped straight in, and she's been one of our most faithful volunteers back there and on our dream team, jumping in wherever needed. So it's cool to see the impact on the kids, but also on the adults that have kind of gotten that spark to want to serve more in kids ministry as well. For me, one of the prayers has just been, and I keep hearing it over and over, this be a marking week for these kids, that they would remember what happens here, that the seeds would be planted, not only just to hear the stories, but to that there would be a marking moment in their lives to remember this was when my life changed. This is when things turned around. This is where I got serious about my walk with Jesus. Especially some of our older kids. We got a few that we've got probably one of our largest 5th grade groups this year.
Yeah, it was massive.
And in past years, that's when we've had maybe 1 or 2, but this year I think we have almost 10. This year, and they're about to get ready to go to youth, and having this these 4th and 5th graders are starting to get some of these things that they maybe hearing is from a child, but also kind of starting to click and start making more sense. And I just am praying that this week will be a marking week for them, that they will be able to take this and build foundationally, coming to Faith Kids, learning more about Jesus and kids church, and then coming into main service when they get into youth and going back into youth service. That they would this would be a marking moment for them, that they would remember this week and take it throughout their life and take it on.
I was actually talking to Angel, I think last night, and I was telling her just as a pastor is what I love seeing happening in the ministries in the church, and I was talking about with this being VBS, just Faith Kids as a whole, what God's doing there is so cool. And I was like, man, this is a ministry that I'd love to have my kids be a part of. If you guys were still young. And what I guess is pretty cool is your kids now are coming in, and so Joe just hitting one. He's going to be in the middle of this before you know it. And so, but it was already just because you guys have been in here serving every night. And if you want to see these things, these moments we're talking about being captured, you guys are Adam and Kelly are doing an incredible job putting this out each night, showing what's taking place right here. And so, but it was just, it was cool because Joe was in the middle of it, even though he's not at age yet, because Mom and Daddy was in here serving it. But already you start getting these little seeds in the ground, man, letting them see these things taking place. And that's been, I guess, for my prayer is I come in agreement on that whole marking thing. But this is it's not just a norm. Something just supernatural, spiritually takes place in their life this week. They have a great time, but spiritually they are marked, and there is a shift that happens in their life, and we're going after, man. And so again, thank you guys for helping making it happen. Thank you to all. Whoever was watching this, if you're a part of our VBS Dream Team, we love you. We thank you so much for helping make this happen. Adam, any thoughts, man, on this thing? Jump in here and talk to us. We're doing a little bit different mic approach. Even we have some recording spots.
We got so many things in the way that we can't plug.
There's a lot happening. So this is a whole different setup for us. But man,
man, I'll say this, and I want to reiterate some of these points that we're going through. You've mentioned this before, that maturity is just the consistent application of elementary things. And a lot of these may seem like elementary ideas, just love one another. We say it all the time, be kind to one another, forgive one another, pray for one another, serve one another. I've just seen too many adults held captive by unforgiveness, not knowing humility by not serving one another, becoming selfish because they haven't prayed for other people. They've only prayed for their own things. They haven't loved one another. They haven't been kind to people. And the thing is if we plant these seeds, like you're saying, I love that terminology. Right now, we may not see fruit for a long time. There's one of my favorite artists, John Mark McMillan. He has a song called "Road the Rocks and Weeds," and he talks about planting sequoias. in that song. He says, "Will I plant sequoias and revel in the soil of a crop I know I'll never get to reap?" Bro, we may not see the fruits of this labor. We may not see the fruits of this labor, but it's real. And these things are going to grow and they're going to flourish. And I do believe that these seeds that we plant when these kids are young, they will show fruit when they get older. And this is so important. If we show these things, they do become elementary ideas. You know what? I do need to forgive this person. I can't hold on to this bitterness. I do need to serve these other people. I can't just keep my gifts for myself. I do need to pray for these other people. I can't make my prayers always be selfish and hoping that I get the big thing. I do have to be kind to one another. I can't just be mean to the person at the Starbucks. I have to show the love of Jesus every single day. And so when we get these kids in here and we put these truths in them at a very young age, I truthfully believe that we're gonna live in a better world one day. And we may not see it, and that's fine by me, but I hope that my son grows up in a way better world that I'm living in right now.
Dude. Wow, so good. You guys have any final thoughts, closing thoughts on this as far as for VBS or for just anything on your heart, man? This is your first time on the pod, man.
It
So
is.
yeah, you got the mic, man. Is there any final thoughts as we close out?
Yeah, so I mean, just like you said earlier, just a thank you for the team that's making this possible. It's a lot of pieces that have to go into a VBS, but all the planning in the world doesn't make a difference if you don't have a team to help support you and being able to be there. And super thankful for my wife who has to put up with my craziness the weeks leading up to VBS. But she puts up with a lot of crazy, and we try to sit down and talk like, okay, where do you need me to support you at so that I can help you out? But yeah, so just thank you to the team. Thank you for the team that's their yes and being willing to. Even if they've never served in kids ministry, never helped at a VBS, I've seen so many people that have just come up to me, and I've just been blown away this year with the number of people that is just like, hey, I want to help at VBS. Where can I help? I'm like, I'll find somewhere. I may not have any spots right now, even if it's just floating around the rooms and seeing where some may need an extra hand here and there. But just thank you. Just thank you to the awesome dream team that's really making this possible this week.
Yeah, I'll just add on a little bit to that. I'm not going to preach like Adam did, but something I was thinking about is when we started this after a 9-year break in 2023, up until I think like 2 days before, we were still looking for people to help serve at VBS. Yeah. And I think, there were people that didn't really know what it was. I think you said some people have been like, what is VBS? Yeah. Because we had taken such a big break. And we had some people that had friends at other churches that even brought other people in that do not attend Faith Renewed to help because we needed the help. We needed the bodies. And this year, only 2 years later from our first one, we're like, finding places for people to serve. Like you said, hey, where can I help? I don't know, but we're going to find you a spot. Whatever it takes, we're going to get you somewhere because it's important and it matters. And so I think that's the sign of the vision is here. The goal to get these kids to Jesus is here. And our people are taking hold of it. It's really cool to see. And it's just awesome to watch. Yeah.
That I say, praise God, man. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. And thank you guys again for leading it. This pod actually will come out Friday. We'll drop Friday, which will be the last night of our VBS. So if you are watching this, you're like, man, I missed it. What's cool is, man, that experience happens every week here in some way. It's in a different setting back in theirs, but man, teaching these principles, teaching the message, sharing Jesus and His love. It happens every week. So if you're watching or listening, you may have missed VBS. Come hang, man, on a Sunday. Bring your kids, and I hope people will grab hold of not just like getting them in VBS and maybe getting a little break for a couple of hours, but see a change in those kids' lives and say, man, we need to have them there regularly, and then they come as a result of that. But, man, this is cool. Thank you guys for taking time. This is a crazy week, and y'all paused all the craziness to hang out with us. That's pretty cool, man. So thank you guys for doing that. And, jump in.
We are going to be having VBS at church the following Sunday after the Friday this comes out. So we're going to be doing Takeover Sunday. VBS, it's July 13th. So if you hear this before then, join us. We'll be at the 9 and 11 service, and we'll do a family picnic afterwards. So, Live It Out's still going to be happening on Sunday at church.
Man. So come come live it out, hang out with us. Man, thank you guys. I'm looking forward to the next conversation. Camp chairs, are we going to keep them or are we going back to the couch, man? I don't know, bro. Yeah.
The camp chair's pretty comfy.
I love the couch and the chairs. So they were pretty comfortable. But no, this has been good, man. This has been
My
good,
chair's
man.
comfy,
Hey, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for being a part of this conversation where we talk about things that matter most. And this is it, man. This is what matters, man. That next generation. We love you. Look forward to the next conversation. Be blessed.